Hello and welcome to NPC, that stands for Next Portable Console, and it's the show about the games we take with us. My name is Federico and I'm joined, as always every week, by the one and only Mr. John Boris, holding up a controller. Hello.
Yeah, I've got a dual sense. I've always got a couple of controllers within hand reach of my desk.
Why not? And we're also joined
3 actually
by the one and only New Yorker in this program, Mr. Brendon.
This is true.
Hello, Brendon.
Hello. I'm holding up the PlayStation Vita.
That is a PS Vita.
Which is weirdly the only handheld I have on my desk right now.
The only?
Big swerve for me. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Interesting.
I do have 4 controllers though, so I'm kind of, I'm on
so he's got me
Yeah.
beat. I've only got 3.
Channeling your inner John Boris. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Before we get to this week's topics and news, just a quick logistical update. As you may see from the video, my image is back to normal. I am not in a cave anymore. And there's a funny story behind that. So I was going crazy trying to figure out what changed. Like my lights are the same, my ring light is the same, camera is the same. Turns out that accidentally I had enabled, instead of person tracking, animal tracking in the video settings. So last week's episode, my camera thought that I was an animal, or maybe couldn't find an animal, and so was trying to, adjust the white balance to account for, fur. I'm not
I
sure.
think what it was doing,
lack of animals.
Lack of animals?
I would imagine, if I understand correctly, what I think is happening when you put animal tracking mode on is it's increasing the shutter speed a lot. So it can catch like a dog like running.
See, here comes Brendon with the technical bits.
Yeah, which means that it would lower the shutter. I mean, it would lower the exposure pretty dramatically.
So what you're saying is
exactly what it looked like.
If I started like moving really fast last week, it would have caught that?
It would capture all of it. It would still be just as dark, but it would capture all of it. Every motion of your body would be crystal clear for us, which is nice.
Think of it as
now
frame
we have
rates.
Motion blur,
Right.
Yeah, think of it as frame rates, Federico.
Well, I am back to being a person instead of an animal, and I also hear, so that's good. Make sure that you. I should have known, honestly, by the presence of a little dog icon in the display. So that's my bad.
That's a tip off.
So I should have.
I love that.
I should have known. John, you also have some follow up, I think.
I do. It's about the Genki stuff that I got, and I'm dealing with Genki support for the last week because my Genki Energy Pack, that's the 10,000 milliamp hour battery that I bought that attaches to the back of their Switch 2 case magnetically and has a little USB-C cable that Federico threw away that I kept, and you plug into the Switch, or you can use it as a Qi charger on the back of a phone that has magnetic charging. And it worked for a day, and then it broke. The battery does still have a charge in it. If I connect a USB-C cable between 2 devices, it will charge things, but the screen doesn't work, so I have no idea whether it's fully charged or not. And the Qi charging broke as well. So of the three main features of this thing, 2 out of the 3 broke. And I contacted them through their website. They were non-responsive. So I contacted them in their Discord, which got me an email. And since then, I've been taking videos of it because I'm sure that they are wondering whether I'm just trying to get a free battery or not. I've been taking videos of all the problems and waiting for a response as to whether they're going to either replace it or refund it. I'd like to have it replaced. I think it's a good. I mean, assuming they work out the kinks, it's got a lot of potential. But my initial experience was not good because it lasted literally a day. I was using it to charge.
That's not great.
Yeah, I mean, I charged my Switch a little bit with it, and then I charged my new iPhone 17 Pro Max with it, and at some point around that time it died. So that's my update. So I would until people know, I don't know if I'm a one-off or whether there are a lot of people. I did see in the Discord there were other people having trouble. I would maybe hold off and wait and see and make sure that this is a reliable thing before
Run, don't walk to get the Genki battery. It is just killer. Yeah. Big recommendation from the 3 of us. No, that's wild. That's pretty wild. I can't. Yeah. I don't know enough about battery technology to fully understand what's going wrong there, but it sounds to me, I feel like there's probably some kind of chip inside batteries like that, right? And it sounds like the chip is what failed, because if the three like most technologically interesting pieces of it have failed, and not just the ability to hold a charge, and like the battery is fine.
Right.
Whatever it is.
It got I will say it got very hot when I was charging my phone, and it could have been that it fried the insides or something. It got quite hot, but who knows? I mean, it's got an aluminum case. It's supposed to be able to dissipate the heat. Is yours holding up, Federico? Have you used it much?
Yeah, I love it. It's fine.
Well, I want yours.
Well, I'm sorry. I am really sorry. Now, guys, would you believe it if I told you that very soon you will be able to purchase for less than $100, less than 100, more than 50, but less than 100, an AYANEO console?
Impossible.
Would you believe?
Impossible.
It's happening with the AYANEO Pocket Air Mini. This is their I kind of want to say their first true entry-level Android-based handheld.
It is Android-based, which to me is one of the things I want to talk about. But
it's going to start with the crowdfunding campaign at $70. So if you sign up for the Indiegogo that they're going to do, there's going to be $70. Going to be $90 at retail. So you're still going to be below $100. And there's going to be there's going to be like two different models. You can, you will be able to spend up to $100 if you want to. But we're looking at a really tiny, it's a 4.2 inch display, resolution of 1280 by 960, running Android, running the MediaTek Helio G90T processor. So you're not gonna push this thing for like heavy duty emulation.
Nope.
But you're still gonna have, I mean, to my eyes, this looks really nice. It's gonna be an AYANEO product for $70 if you sign up for the campaign. You're gonna have a 4500 milliampere hour battery, 18 watt charging, USB-C, 500 nits of brightness, and what looks to be like a pretty comfortable and ergonomic layout. 2 sticks at the bottom, D-pad at the top, 4:3 aspect ratio. $70 from AYANEO if you sign up on the crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, it's a 4.2 inch screen that's 1280 by 960 and a 4:3 aspect ratio. So it's I think that this screen here is one of the things that this device really has going for it. I really do want to talk to you guys about the Android of it all, though, because it's got Bluetooth 5 and it's got Wi-Fi 5. So they definitely are cutting some costs there in that aspect of it. So while it could be okay for some streaming, it's not going to be stellar for streaming games. This is definitely more of an emulation device, I think. It'd be interesting to see how a device like this does with kind of higher end Google Play Store games. My guess is not great, although I can't say that I've ever tried it. I guess I question a little bit why this is an Android device, because I'm not sure. Android feels like a lot of overhead for something like this.
Well, I guess it's got to be the fact that, look, the reason why you can get this thing for so cheap is that this is like one of the chips from MediaTek from 2019. So that's
it's probably
6 years
Android
ago.
Android 11 or something, right?
Android 11.
It is Android 11. Yeah.
Made for like entry level Android devices at the time. Yeah. And that's 6 years ago. So now, obviously, you can put this thing like, what's it gonna cost AYANEO to get their hands on this? Like $15 or something? Like, what's the bill of material gonna look like on this product? Like that chip.
I'm just doing
is really
a little bit of Googling. It seems like it is basically not going to get you into the GameCube or PS2 library at all. So which is fine, I think, for the price and also the build quality. The two big things about this device for me. Number one, I think the battery life actually looks amazing. 4,500 milliamp hours is like really strong. The second thing is a more existential question, which is why is this not a Conquer device? Didn't they just launch the Conquer brand as like the budget entry-level AYANEO stuff?
That's what I don't understand. Like,
and this is cheaper than any of those, I think.
Yeah.
And this is cheaper than, like, that is... And I hate to pile on AYANEO here because they're actually doing the thing that we wanted them to do, which is actually offer an entry-level device.
Yeah.
They did announce a whole press thing, their entry-level line, and this is not part of it. But there's more. Because in March 2026, so in 6 months, there's going to be, of course, it's AYANEO, a slightly higher end new product in the Pocket line. So this is going to be the Pocket S Mini. So the Pocket S is the flagship Android-based, really fancy Apple-style aesthetic handheld that they make. They're going to make a mini version of the Pocket S that they pre-announced, and it's going to come out in March 2026. I bet that one is not going to be an entry-level pricing. That one is going to be maybe not Pocket S level pricing, although when you need to it comes down to the components, obviously. But essentially, AYANEO here is saying, look, we can make a Pocket-style handheld, both for entry-level and flagship adjacent kind of style. But my question is exactly what Brendon said, which is, well, then if you're doing this, why is the Pocket Air Mini not part of the Conquer line?
Yeah. It should be called the Conquer Mini or something like that. I mean, when you look at these two models, what's striking to me and why I think you're right that the price on the Pocket S Mini will be a lot higher is that the Pocket S Mini looks as though it's a good bit thinner. And it's definitely got that kind of AYANEO modern design aesthetic going on, which I really like. I think that in white, it looks wonderful.
Looks great.
Whereas the other one definitely looks more plastic and has kind of 70s, 80s vibes to it.
It looks like an Ambernic device almost.
It does a lot.
Kind of looks like that.
Yeah, especially the black one. The black one looks very Ambernic. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that they're doing this. I just
same.
I just
the
don't
Pocket
understand.
S Mini is going to have the G3 Gen 2. It looks like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to be.
That's
cheap.
probably a $200 device then, I bet.
At a minimum. Yeah. So knowing AYANEO is going to be $350 for sure.
$350 to $400.
Yeah. For sure. Well, speaking of Snapdragon, I didn't know this, but as we're recording this, we're doing this on Thursday. There was a Qualcomm Snapdragon event last night that I found out as it was happening, so I started taking some notes. So there's basically two big announcements. 3 if you count Google. Google was present at the event. They're confirming all the rumors and the speculations, saying that they're gonna try their hand again at building a desktop operating system, and they're gonna basically merge Android and Chrome OS to sort of try once again and become a third pillar for, if you consider Linux, in the desktop space. But that's separate. Qualcomm announced 3 mobile chipsets. So first of all, there's some naming stuff we need to address. So Qualcomm announced the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. And you may be wondering, wait, wasn't the 8 Elite a separate thing? And then the Gen 3, like, didn't they stop at Gen 3? Now,
what happened to Gen 4?
What happened to Gen 4? So Gen 4 never existed.
Right.
Essentially, Qualcomm is unifying the two sort of branches. And they're saying, they're basically reading between the lines, they're saying that the original Elite was the Gen 4. So now they're saying, well, it's called Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. So you can consider this unification of the 8 series, 8 family of chipsets. They're doing a Generation 5. And this and the other chips that they announced are incredibly promising, and they're also going to be incredibly expensive. So the 8 Elite Gen 5, which I'm just going to call the Gen 5, is the 3rd generation Orion CPU, and it has next generation Adreno GPU. So this thing is going to require, obviously, brand new Adreno GPU drivers. We are looking at 2 prime cores with 4.6 gigahertz performance and 6 performance cores that are clocked at 3.62 gigahertz. They're basically promising 20% performance improvements and 35 better efficiency versus the previous gen, which is, I'm assuming, the Elite, not the 3. The GPU is seeing some really interesting bumps with this new Adreno architecture. 23% better performance, while also requiring 20% less power than before. So you're getting 20% more while using 20% less power, which is really interesting. And they're all doing, both with these chips and the other ones that I'll mention shortly, big improvements for AI stuff. Not that we particularly care when it comes to AI in video games, but they're doing this for phones and computers and tablets and whatnot.
Right. Apple's been doing the same thing with its neural processors.
Yeah, but keep in mind the GPU improvements here. The two other chipsets are the X2 Elite and the X2 Extreme. So these are the chips for the PCs, like for computers, for Windows running on ARM, essentially.
Right.
The X2, also a third generation Orion CPU. So that's the architecture. It's a 3 nanometer process. That's the process that we're using now. This one has 18 cores, and the Extreme the X2 has 18 cores. The Extreme is clocked all the way up to 5 gigahertz. So that's one beefy CPU that you're looking at. They're promising roughly the same GPU improvements, but with a lot more cores in the CPU and clocked higher than the mobile chipsets. They're doing a lot of stuff with AI. They're doing 80 TOPS MPU, like all the fancy stuff for AI-based workflows. This is going to be interesting mostly from a productivity standpoint. If you're going to buy a laptop with these chips and you want to run locally, like on-device AI models, again, not necessarily going to be applicable for games, although there's a conversation that I want to have about video games in a minute. So yeah, realistically, we're looking at these two chips for computers that have much more powerful CPUs, and the GPU story is roughly the same between both of them, which is 20% more powerful, requires 20% less battery. Now, obviously, I think Xiaomi was the partner at the event, showing off one of their new phones, I believe the 15T Pro, something like that. That is going to be one of the first ones to use the 8 Elite Gen 5. Now, it's going to be a while before we see these in handhelds, right? And when we do, they're going to be expensive, especially, I can imagine an AYANEO console with the 8 Elite Gen 5 costing you, I don't know, around $1,000, because that's what a phone with these chips costs, realistically. Yeah. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, beyond the CPU and the GPU, because that curve is always going up when it comes to performance and down when it comes to, to power consumption. But I wonder if at the very high end, this power in this, Apple calls it the neural engine. Every other company has a different name for it, but essentially these dedicated AI chips in these chipsets. I wonder if there's a scenario in which we start seeing, and Apple is doing this, correct me if I'm wrong, John, in a minute, is doing this to some extent with Metal and their own neural engine. But I wonder if also on Android, we could start seeing things like frame generation, frame interpolation, upscaling based on these AI coprocessors instead of doing it just via the GPU. That's what's interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Metal. I was actually talking to my son Finn about this morning, because I couldn't recall. One of the things I just wrote a story about on Mac Stories is how the voice transcription, audio transcription engine in the iPhone 17 Pro line is almost as fast as a MacBook Pro running an M4 Pro. It's a very big jump in performance. And that's because of Apple's new frameworks for doing that kind of work, as well as the neural engine. It's happening all in the neural engine. It's not, as I understand it, using Metal. So metal, I think, is GPU bound. But all if you look at the performance, and we're seeing a lot now that Apple just announced and released their new hardware for phones, we're starting to see a lot of the benchmarks, and we're starting to see the initial results of apps and how fast they can do it. Because Matt Birchler, who is one of the hosts on Cozy Zone at Mac Stories, he has an app called Quick Subtitles, and all it does is it takes audio and video files and transcribes them for you on device in a privacy-focused way. And it's incredibly fast on the phone. I tried it last night, and I was blown away. I do all that stuff on a MacBook Pro because it's much faster. Now it's essentially the same speed on a phone, which I think is interesting. And it's while we're not the audio transcription podcast. I think that kind of performance will translate into some of the things that Federico's talking about in gaming going forward, both on Apple's devices. But, I think what we're seeing here is that Qualcomm's doing the exact same kind of thing. I mean, these step ups and things like GPU performance and the neural processors with more cores, that's the exact same thing that Apple's doing. And now Qualcomm, I think, really has caught up a lot to Apple Silicon in the last couple of years. And what I'm really interested to see is once these chips from Qualcomm are in devices, how do they stack up to where we are with Apple, and what does that mean in particular for games going forward?
I do just need to interject and say that NPC could stand for new podcast captions.
There we go.
if we want to pivot.
This is why we couldn't record without Brendon, even though he's a little under the weather, because we need our acronyms.
Yes. Yeah.
Can I just also shout out a very interesting thing about the articles about these chips, which is also a little bit unrelated to what we cover here, but they're all capable of supporting 6G wireless connection.
Yeah,
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
What is 6G? When is it?
I think I saw a summary on social media. Somebody posted like an executive from Qualcomm, I think, that they basically tried to pitch like 6G is not really a thing anymore, but I think they tried to pitch it as like an AI powered network, which doesn't make any sort of sense.
That's the last thing I need. 5G is, I barely have a 5G signal at my house. It's because it's such short range. But.
Yeah, and we're talking about 6G. So we'll see what happens. Now, I want to, there's a topic that I want to talk about, but briefly, I want to talk about Sony. We're going to talk about Sony and NPC XL for Patreon subscribers this week, because I have some thoughts, and I have a bit of a realization that I've had that I want to sort of discuss with Brendon and John. But here in the main show, I just wanted to shout out so there was a state of play last night, and amongst the game announcements, there was also Sony announced these Pulse Elevate wireless speakers. So they're making desktop speakers in black and white. These are going to be wireless speakers that you can use using the PlayStation Link technology with the PlayStation dongle. You will be able to use them with a PC, Mac, or PlayStation 5 or PlayStation Portal. And thanks to PlayStation Link, you will be able to switch back and forth between devices quite seamlessly, they say. They're going to come out in 2026. There's no pricing yet. They look pretty nice, but also they remind me of a Wi-Fi router. For some reason, they kind of look very like much. That. I just find it intriguing that there's this is not the first Pulse. Obviously, Sony made the Pulse earbuds that I think we mentioned on the show last year. They also made the headphones. These are all all these audio products are all the results of the Odyssey acquisition a few years ago, the high-end audio company. They're all using planar magnetic drivers, including in these wireless speakers. They look really nice. They have a charging dock that you can place them. I may consider them if they're not too crazy expensive and are small enough for my desk. We'll see. But I continue to find Sony's accessory lineup very interesting, for almost like they're taking more risks there than they do with the console or with games.
Yeah,
between the audio products and the monitors, like the in-zone series of monitors that they make. Those are also pretty good. But yeah,
the headphones are good too. The over-ear ones, they're quite good.
Headphones are good. Yeah.
I think the industrial design is also like generally pretty chic. For what they are, I think in a world of like LED strip gamer nonsense, like Sony actually does a pretty good job designing this stuff. This is just hyperfixation of mine always, but one of my favorite things from watching this event yesterday was at the end of the Pulse speakers section. It showed that they're available in 2 colors, midnight black and white, but white had an asterisk on it. And
that is available only on the PlayStation Store for a limited time.
For some reason they're only making it for a little bit in white, which is so silly. Such a weird thing to do, considering the PlayStation 5 is white.
So it's not like you ran out of white paint or something. Like
I mean, they've got plenty of white plastic from all the PS5s they're not selling anymore. I mean, it looks a lot like a Wi-Fi router in a PS5 had a love child, really. I mean, but they do look nice, but they do have that little bit of a router look to them.
It's got that look.
I was watching the state of play while I was doing other things, and I missed a lot of details, and I didn't read up on this yet, but how are these connecting to things like a PC and a Mac?
Oh, you got to use the dongle.
There's a little dongle that comes with it that you can just kind of move between
or you purchase multiple dongles, I think.
Got it. Yeah, that is, I mean, right now I've got speakers that are wired. I'd love to get rid of those wires. So I could see myself looking at these at some point if they're not too expensive.
Yeah.
Another big hardware announcement from that, which was very funny. It's the 20th anniversary of God of War this year. And a lot of people were expecting like a re-release or a remaster or something. And then, they started playing the God of War music, and they had this big cinematic trailer reveal for a God of War DualSense controller.
Yes.
Instead of a game. So funny. I love that stuff so much. But anyway, sorry to John, who has another controller he has to buy.
No, I'm gonna take a pass on the God of War one. It looks nice, but I've got enough DualSense controllers.
I'd even argue it doesn't look nice. It's a very silly looking controller. Anyway,
it's got its own style.
Yeah.
It
didn't really appeal to me either.
Yeah.
So before we talk some more about Sony in NPC XL, I wanted to talk about the benchmarks and the first tests that we got for the GPD Win 5.
Yeah.
This has been a recent obsession of mine. The $2,000 handheld that is going to be the most powerful. It is the most powerful handheld in the world with the Ryzen AI 395. And it's going to cost you $2,000 and has an external battery. Well, now both the Fox on YouTube and ETA Prime posted their hands-on videos. I'm sure there are some more. I just like these two guys personally. This thing is incredible. Okay, so couple of things that
Federico, I'm not
buying
interrupt
it.
You.
No, okay.
Listeners are witnessing. Here on NPC, the rationalization beginning to happen. That's what's happening right here. That's why this is in the show today.
Fine, you know what? You talk about.
You gotta switch your camera back to animal mode.
Things were better. Things were better when my camera thought I was a dog or a bear or something. I am not in the market for this handheld. Mine is a pure scientific fascination with this product, with the fact that it exists and that people at GPD thought, hey, what if we didn't stop at computers with this kind of performance? What if we put it in a handheld that you got to strap on a battery to in the back to make it work?
A big battery.
So apparently, when the battery is off, this device is really lightweight. Well, go figure. Obviously.
That'd be true of any handheld.
When the battery is attached, so watch the videos because it really is like, just technologically speaking, fascinating. This big chunky battery, there's a clip-like mounting system in the back. Looks quite elegant and sturdy and reliable. But when you attach this big square battery, the whole thing weighs more than 1 kilogram, like 1.3 kilograms, I think. But according to both the Fox and ETA Prime, there is at least pretty good weight distribution in that it feels lighter even with the battery attached than what it is. Now, because the battery is not inside, right, of the handheld, the thermals are great. Even when you're pushing this thing to 45 watts or you want to push it all the way up to 60 watts.
And even though the battery blocks the vents for the fan.
Even though the battery blocks one of the vents, the thermals are great. And that's that is interesting, if anything, because honestly, and we see this in phones, we see this everywhere. One of the biggest challenges for any kind of portable device is heat dissipation that occurs when the battery is pumping out power and the device gets hot and suddenly you don't know what to make of the heat. Every company with phones, computers, they're all trying their own different take on it. Apple is now also doing vapor chamber in the 17 Pro devices. And here GPD is saying, well, we're taking a laptop chipset and instead, you want to deal with heat? Well, what if we took the biggest source of heat generation and put it in a separate box? And that's the GPD Win 5 solution. Now, so they're saying that the controls feels great. The ergonomics are pretty good. The performance is insane. Watch the videos. You're seeing things like Cyberpunk run at 1080p or 1440p, high settings, even ray tracing enabled, I think, in some of the tests, and hitting 60 frames or more than 75 frames on a
really
handheld.
Remarkable.
It really is remarkable. Sure, when you play with that kind of performance, you're going to play for 2 hours, and then the external 80 watt-hour battery is going to die. Because, you're literally playing Cyberpunk with ray tracing at 75 frames. That's going to happen.
But, and that's also, to be clear, how long the Switch 2 lasts playing Cyberpunk.
At much lower
the settings that the Switch 2 is at.
Yeah,
but also
I think,
with an integrated battery.
Tests, Yeah, I think in some tests it only lasted an hour when they're up at 45 watts, I want to say, as their TDP for some of the games. But the results really are pretty remarkable. And it's got the same screen that the Ally X has. At least that's what it looks like. It's a 7-inch screen.
7-inch, 120 hertz with variable refresh rate display. Yes, and so the big fancy version, the AI Max 395, that will qualify this handheld for the title of most powerful handheld in the world right now. And I think there's a really interesting angle that, the Fox on YouTube has been sort of working this narrative for the past few months. We are watching in real time what most likely in a couple of years will be, if the rumors are correct, the PlayStation 6 handheld. If Sony really wants to make a PlayStation 6 handheld that is going to be backwards compatible with the PS5 and support multiple TDPs with their new adaptive power mode that they also have, these are the most likely the guts of that device, but 2 or 3 years prior. And because it's so early, you end up with these kinds of compromises, like an external battery, for example,
and a price tag of $2,200.
And that kind of price tag. But that is essentially what we may see in 2028, 2029 for a handheld that can have the power of a high-end laptop right now, but that you can hold in your hands. And obviously, you can play indie games, you can lower the TDP to 9 watts, you can play for more than 8 hours. You can have multiple TDP choices, but obviously when you want to play God of War or Cyberpunk or, any AAA games with really high fidelity settings, that battery is going to last you an hour or a little more than that, hopefully.
I was kind of impressed too with the various buttons that they have here for controlling windows. For they have a little optical mouse nubbin type thing, and buttons to bring up the keyboard dedicated to that. Various things that are the kinds of things that are a hassle on Windows, which a lot of the other manufacturers don't really deal with super well. They usually make you go into some sort of menu and dig around and find what you need to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's that. I'm not buying it. It's a cool device. I'm not buying it. I just think it's awfully strange that I wanted to play with my gaming PC today, and it decided to start acting up. I am not getting any video signal out of the display port in the back of the GPU. I don't know, just seems like a quite strange coincidence because the GPD Win 5 pre-orders are open as of right now. I'm just kidding though. I'm gonna fix my gaming PC.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Some may see it as a sign. It's quite funny. I gotta fix my gaming PC, obviously.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, I think, for this week's episode of NPC. And I have some thoughts and revelations to share about Sony and my PS5 in NPC XL. John, where can people find this NPC XL thing we speak of?
NPC XL, you can go over to Patreon, and for $5 a month, you can subscribe, and you will get a weekly episode of NPC XL, which is our extended version of NPC. And of course, Federico periodically does a little newsletter where he takes some of the links that we don't get to from week to week and puts a little commentary around them and drops that on the Patreon page as well. So check it out. In the meantime, of course, you can find the three of us all over the internet. We've got Brendon over at wavelengths.online and me and Federico over at macstories.net. And you can find us on social media by just searching for our names. You'll find us pretty easily. I'll talk to everybody later. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.